It's gonna be sick.
Different, right?
I mean, these things make a lot of power.
All right, everyone, welcome back to CJ Race Cars YouTube channel. Today, as you can see, the engine for Project Seagull, the V10 Lamborghini engine, is not here again. That's because it's over on the fab table, because we had to cut a ton of stuff off the subframe, which we were hoping it would fit better than it did, but it didn't. That being said, I think we're pretty close now to where we need to be, and we're gonna show you that in this video.
Evidently, when they make this piece here, the control arm mounts were about a little over 1/8 of an inch, between an 1/8 and a 3/16 too narrow to fit the TRZ arms. So that, and when we cut some stuff out of this thing, evidently something moved a little bit, and so we had this tacked down and it wasn't lining up with this one. The all thread was in a bind, and so when you pulled the all thread out that we used to straighten it, I mean we used to hold it in line, this wound up being a little higher than what it should be. So we had it just welded partially. So I cut it all loose. We're using this mount, which has never been moved. It's all right where it's supposed to be. We're using that. We're using a piece of tubing, moly tubing, instead of all thread, because it's not going to move. So it goes through here. We're taking this mount. It floats right now. So we put the control arms in with the bushings. So the width is proper amount. Everything works nice and smooth. Now what we got to do is do the same thing over here. Clamp something flat across these to hold it in position, and re-tack on and weld it to these tubing we put in. Custom stuff. Nothing ever usually is as it seems. Better to catch it now than later, because if you wait till later and you got a lot of stuff all done, you find out it doesn't work, nobody's happy. Keep going. Keep going. All right, come on up. All right, you got it. Are you centered? I'm pulling on it. Up, a little bit. Up. Got to come in probably 6 inches. Hold it. A little bit more. All right. Now, just kind of leave it sit there a second.
Today's video is sponsored by AG1. AG1 is a daily foundational nutrition supplement that supports whole body health. AG1 is part of my daily routine. I take AG1 first thing in the morning, every morning. It gives me the energy I need to get through my day. I feel more focused, alert, and most importantly, less stressed. Something else I really love about AG1 is it's really easy to drink. Just mix 1 scoop of AG1 with 8 to 10 ounces of cold water and drink. Ryan's got our Haas machine all programmed up to make sure we get a good mix on our AG1. I was really skeptical at first, to be honest about this, because I'm not very big on eating my greens, but this stuff actually tastes really good. If you guys have been watching the channel for a while, you know I've been focusing on my health a lot more lately, and I've been going to the gym a lot. And since using AG1, I noticed that my body has been able to recover a lot quicker, and my muscles have been less sore. Try AG1 for yourself. Head over to the link in the description below for a free 1-year supply. of AG Vitamin D3 plus K2 plus 5 AG1 travel packs with your first purchase of AG1. Thanks again to AG1 for sponsoring today's video.
Behind where the thermostat housing is, where that black tube that goes up,
Yeah.
is another like machine face where a fitting bolts on, and that control arm bracket has to kind of fall right there.
Now let me align this dealie over here. I ease it down a little bit. Okay, keep going. Okay, you're touching now on the back, but I'm thinking you gotta kind of slightly back up just a little bit to pull the motor a little bit forward. Like, see, right now it's wanting to swing back and hit over here.
Yeah, I can back it up.
Yeah, you just gotta back up a little bit because of the angle of the motor. If you lower it down, I got a feeling it might go away from that bracket, but it might not be enough. If you drop it down right there, we're gonna be pretty close, right? About there. Yeah, we got our 1/4 inch now. That's like a 32nd over 1.5 inches. That's 3/16 over 1.5 inches. You just gotta kind of,
Ooh, too much.
that did it. 1 5/8 inches, 1.5 inches. 1 9/16. That's close, really, really close. 1/8 of an inch, if we had to go straight back 1/8 of an inch, but I'm not gonna put the rack that close.
16 and we'll call it 7/8. 17 and 3/8.
16. It may not be 16 and 7/8.
It's not going to be centered.
Okay. And then we just got to center it with what we've got on the chassis. Be slightly touching the engine case right here, which means we could bump it that way if we touch.
That edge too, we could always cut that corner off and replate it, you know what I mean?
Okay.
If we had to.
We got it really, really close.
Yeah.
Even being here 1 9/16, 1 9/16. And the rack's going to go a lot farther forward than I thought it was. Which is good because with the U-joint on the thing, it was going to be wanting to hit almost the back of this.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it was close. Yeah, these things line up really good now. Because before, this surface right here, we had to move this back.
Yeah.
It was like that far from even going in the mount. And when we pulled the all thread out, it dropped down that far and a little bit in or out, I forget which it was, of this hole. So this wound up being 3/4 of an inch off the table instead of an inch. But then everything lined right up with a piece of moly tubing, and you just put the bolts in and they just fall right in. And you got this because of just the mount being a little wider.
Yeah. Well, by the time we powder
You
coat it,
could put a shim in there if you wanted to.
well, when we powder coat, it's going to take up some of that
Yeah,
too.
but now those control arms line up really, really, really nice. I had to take the cutoff wheel down beside the body. So with the width of the cutoff wheel, love that, don't you? And the width of a cutoff wheel about halfway down that tube. So when we go to weld it, we don't want to weld that until we have this tube in place and tacked in, because that thing is going to. And we did this to get extra clearance. Made that flat, and yeah.
They're making all kinds of noise over there, huh?
Yeah.
Right.
87.1 to 86.9.
That's fine. I mean, I just wanted to make sure it wasn't like a drastic move that was going to mess up something fitting that we got fitting now. That's fine.
Sick.
Different, right?
I mean, these things make a lot of power.
Yeah, I mean, I think stock motor can make like 1,500, and we're only trying to go 850, so.
Yeah, you're gonna go 850s one time, and then you're gonna say we're going 790s. So
The biggest reason I only want to go with 50s is because I want to run full interior, so I don't want to put like a ton of cage in it. Well, I know how it'll go too, but we'll see. We'll see if it'll work like that. But.
I would build it for 750 because we all know it's gonna happen.
Yeah.
You can still have an interior with 750 cage.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
Is this your car right here?
Yeah. Well, this is the We thought it was gonna fit. We bought a subframe for a big block Chevy, and this motor is like 4 times wider at the bottom. So
Yeah, it's
nothing fit.
huge.
We had to cut the whole bottom out of it, redo the whole bottom.
At least you guys know how to cut and weld. If you need me to weld anything while I'm here,
Yeah. I'll let you know. We'll tack it up, get
all
it ready
right,
for
yeah,
the
let
next
me
time
know.
we
I'll
come.
come finish it out.
Really, really close to that lower control arm mount. The rack is probably going to have to be sitting like this on the mounting points because it's hitting here. And if I roll this down, it hits here and I can't go back with it anymore.
That's at center?
The rack is centered, yes.
Oh.
So if this is where it would be with the rack centered, but you see, I can't twist the rack this way because this hits this, and this is into the control arm housing bracket. So it's going to have to, the rack is going to have to be rolled back like this a little bit, and then the U-joint. Man, this is tight.
It'd be really nice if they could move the gearbox a little bit.
It'd be really nice if this giant tube wasn't right where it is, but we don't have a whole lot of choice in that matter, but that's where it's going to have to be.
Yeah, none of it's that tight.
I'm just not, oh now this one, hey, you can't get a wrench on it.
The other option.
Need a longer, I can give you a long extension.
Yeah.
That'd be easier.
The other option is just a regular Torx. That's not gonna work with a half-inch drive socket.
You do this.
Give me that back.
It's going. There, it'll clear us that water from casting. Loctited, I'm sure.
I don't know, do Germans use Loctite?
Is it German? Oh, I'm sure they have their own version of Loctite. I don't know. Oh, it might work. Oh, there ain't much of it. Going along. That much clearance from the boot rubbing the frame tube.
Plenty of room.
Look,
Plenty of
I
room.
mean, it is close.
But you're gonna have to cut it back out. Where are you gonna come back out at? Here somewhere?
It can go and kind of parallel the back side of this, and then it's going to have to do whatever, but we don't know what it's going to do until that steering shaft is in the car.
Yeah.
But at least it'll clear down here.
Yeah.
It's going to be it's going to go off the rack this way, and then have to cut back that way. Which it'll all work.
A lot of people on the first video said we should have just started over and built our own K-member, and we could do that. But the reason we're not doing that is basically we just cut the stuff out of the center there that was hitting. This K-member is built for like a small block Chevy, big block Chevy, LS, etc., with a narrow oil pan and has a lot more room. But if we were to start from scratch, we would have to jig up all the suspension, all the stuff that holds the core support, all the stuff that mounts the body. And for us to build one like that wouldn't make much sense. It would take hundreds of hours. And whereas this already has all the geometry figured out on all the suspension, and we just basically got to make the engine fit, which is what we're doing instead of starting over. Now, if we were going to build 100 of these, we would build our own from scratch, and we would make it work with this engine. But I doubt that there's going to be 100 people wanting to put a Lamborghini engine in a Camaro. So for now, this is what we're going to do.
Side to side, front to back. Got enough room there for a boot to probably clear that nut. Can't go back a whole lot because of this bolt right here. I'm not sure that it might be a drain bolt. I don't know. You don't want to get crammed up against it. But here you should have room for a boot. It's side to side, eyeball, pretty close to being center with these bolts. And you've got, like I said, 100,000ths at the most clearance from the boot hitting this frame tube. You probably got 1/8 of an inch, 100,000ths, 60,000ths of the boot wanting to rub against the water pump. So there's not a whole lot of room for error. But that never moves. Once you get it located and set up, steering shaft doesn't do anything but just roll, turn. If it does anything else, you got a problem.
So once you get the measurements on it, then you're going to pull the engine out and then mount it with the engine out. You're not going to try to mount it there, obviously, right?
No, I'm going to try to
get some really good measurements.
I got to get some kind of good measurements on where it's going to be. And I can fab up some tubes and maybe put a tack here if I had to and have it back there to kind of get an idea. Yeah, I don't want to do any more than I have to with the motor in it, but I don't want to pull the motor out and then go, oh, you need to get a really good location on that. Yeah. Okay. Might have it a little off center. That wasn't turned where it was supposed to. Okay, that's 3 3/8. Gotta do a little turn. Yeah, that's really close. Well, that's on my marks. And those marks were just kind of an idea where to put it. You have to have the rack where the bolts go into the rack in front of this enough that you can get a socket on a regular 5/8 hex for, because these are 7/16 for some. Pinto racks are weird. They use 7/16 over here and 3/8 over here. And so you got to make sure when you make your mount that for convenience, you got to be able to take a socket, put on that bolt head, and get it past this. Have enough clearance there so it's easy to get on and off. So this thing will go forward whatever it has to, so when the rack is in its position, you have that clearance, and then we'll be making a plate. There'll be a couple of supports that go through here, and then there'll be a plate that'll weld along that support, weld along here, probably continue all the way over to this, and come back, and there'll be 2 holes in that. There'll be a similar plate over here, 2 holes in that, and the rack will go in and sit on top of that, bolts go in it. And if you had to shim a little tiny bit, which you don't have much room to even do that, you could put a little shim, but it's so close, whatever this is, that's it. That's approximate location. Factors we got to take into account. There's a rubber boot that goes on here. So the rubber boot has to clear this and clear this, but you can't go any higher than a certain amount because then the U-joint is going to hit the bottom of the motor. This, you don't want it to get so close to that you can't get it loose. So you can back it up a little bit, and this is the same distance here and this here, so the rack is centered. I'm just eyeballing where this collar is in relation to this nut, and that gives me an approximate center for what we're doing now. Close is good enough. And now we look down here, and it appears that I have enough clearance now that you'd be able to get a socket on it. The bad thing is, I won't really know for sure until I have a plate in there.
Oh man, that's pretty cool. Thank you guys for watching and helping this make this possible. I wasn't sure if this was a plaque or YouTube banning us for putting a Lamborghini engine in a Camaro, but I'm glad it's the plaque. All right, we're gonna go out and show the guys the new play button because without them, this wouldn't have been possible. What do you think, Danny? Check it out. You get a play button at 100,000 subscribers.
You get a what button?
Well, it's a plaque. Play button plaque.
Oh, okay.
It's pretty cool, right?
I saw that thing. I saw a box sitting on your desk that said YouTube on it. I wonder what it was.
Yeah.
We get a raise?
A raise?
Yeah, we get a raise.
No, you get limited.
Oh. No, what's the next one?
It's $1 million.
What?
Yeah, so
Can't even do like a halfway?
$500,000.
Yeah.
We might be able to make one of these on a laser at $500,000 and etch it and put it on the wall.
Is there a copyright?
Yeah, you might be onto something there. You might be onto something. Yeah, we got a little ways to go for the next one.
No, but that's good.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Pretty cool.
What are we at now?
106 something.
Hey, man.
Yeah. I like it.
Get there.
Cool. Get to $1 million?
Hey, I don't know. That's a lot of people.
By the time we get to $1 million, I'll probably have as much gray hair as Taylor. What do you think?
I might not be around. I might be 6 feet under at that point.
Oh, man. I don't know. I'm catching you pretty quick.
No, you ain't.
I'm catching you
Don't
pretty quick. I got a lot of
Don't
hair.
lie. Let it grow out and we'll see.
Oh, it's bad when it grows out.
Let it grow out and we'll see.
What's up?
Check it out. Check it out.
For me?
Well, it's for us. It's for all of us.
That is awesome.
That's pretty cool, right?
Yeah.
It's pretty wild.
Yeah, it is.
That's because of the
What's the next one?
$1 million.
Million?
We're just talking about. I told Taylor I'll be as gray as him by the time we get to $1 million.
I don't know about that, but
Hey, you made a post over the weekend about one build next year, right? Yeah. I told Andrew to save his pennies and we can do a Civic.
A Civic.
let's do it. And you
I
guys,
also said I'm gonna pick the build I want to do.
nah, you guys pay for it too.
Which that might not be it.
I thought it was a good idea.
It'd be cool, but
It would be.
yeah.
Hey, congratulations.
You guys. I just received it. I just got it here for you guys.
I'm just holding it, that's all.
Yeah, I just hold it for everybody. I'm gonna put it on a wall so we can stare at it.
That's why I drill these holes on an end mill. So it's exactly what was the spacing. The drill bit can't walk. Makes a pretty good hole. And that way when you go to put this thing in, it lines up. It's not sloppy. Especially when you're in an area like this where you can't hardly do anything. This is already tacked. Everything lines up really good. I slide that hole 1/16 either way because that rack is the one that seems to be a little shorter than that one. So I made it so you can, this is holes. It goes where it goes.
So
There's a little bit of movement. Here, you have a movement this way, but you ain't got a movement.
I like it. Looks good.
Yeah, it's there. I mean, it is. We're going to be really, really, really close to locking on the U-joint over here. It's so close to the frame, the bolt's going to hit.
There's definitely zero extra room.
See, I'll show you over here. That right there, that's blocked. Well, it can be like this, but now you're hitting that mount. So you pull it away from it a little bit, raise this up a little bit, you'll have clearance, but you don't have any clearance for any bolts in it.
What if we go down
That's it. That's all it'll go.
in that way? Go that way with the like down with the shaft on that side. What if we put one more joint in it and a support? Can we do that, or is that going to be?
Well, we have 1, 2, 3 U-joints. We can do 4, but where are you wanting to put the? Where are you wanting to do it?
Well, I'm just saying if you could go down that way, like if that could go further that way, would that help?
Something like this?
Yeah, there's not a whole lot of room, is there?
No, there is no room. But if we weld this to this shaft and weld that to that shaft, that's fine. You
Yeah.
can take this still out.
Right.
I think, yeah, we can get a bolt in this one. Or even if you didn't get a bolt in it, you slide it off the rack.
Yeah.
And then up here, you can bolt the U-joint like normal.
Yeah, I think that's fine.
Yeah, it's just like really, really, really close.
Yeah.
This here has a little option. This has options.
So pretty much the subframe's done, other than mounting the motor.
You got to mount the motor to the subframe.
Yep.
Then you could probably, like you wanted to do, take the motor out, put this back in the car. Mm-hmm. Anytime you want to put the motor in or out, you got a spot where the motor will go in and sit. Up here, we're not going to have a motor mount, are we?
No.
Okay, so it's right here.
It's going to be here and then mid-plate.
Mid-plate.
So that'll be the next thing we'll do. We have a scan of the engine, and we'll probably scan the subframe now while it's in here. We'll pull this mid-plate out because it's for a big block Chevrolet.
Yeah.
Pull that out, scan the subframe compared to the engine, and we'll make a mid-plate that'll work, and then a spacer, because as you can see,
It's
this
exactly
is
an inch and a half right now.
Okay, perfect.
So if you had a piece of, had an inch and a half spacer, there you go.
And also, we got a pretty good plan on how we're going to do the motor mount. Similar to the factory one, except for we'll use a billet puck in between the chassis and the engine for solid. Same thing with back here. And then later on, if we wanted to, we could put some kind of something in there to absorb some of that. So
Your thing.
to try, yeah, we could try.
You don't want
mount there and
rubber.
here.
Rubber moves way,
No,
way
not
too
really.
much. Welcome to Florida.
I must be allergic to Lamborghinis. It's out of my budget, so it's making me making me stuffed up.
Sprechen Sie Deutsch?
That's what it's doing. Anyways, yeah, I think we're doing good. We got it in there. I didn't know if it was gonna fit, and literally, if it was a quarter of an inch wider, half inch wider, it wouldn't fit.
When it comes to that rack, you've got,
Even A-arms and everything.
oh yeah, everything
If it was
is,
a half inch wider, it wouldn't fit.
everything is really, I don't know why it's always like that. We have so many things that are like almost zero tolerance, and it works out that it's almost zero tolerance. So you can make it work, but it's like very, very dependent on this and this and this and this and this and this and this all lining up. It's not like a chassis car where usually you go, oh, I can put this thing within 3 inches of anything.
That
Not
means
here.
it was meant to be, Danny.
Oh God, I guess so.
This was meant to be a Lamborghini Camaro. Camaro-Ghini.
Oh, it's going to be
People
nice.
came up with all kinds of names in the
It's
comments.
going to be interesting. I know. I saw some of them.
Camaro-Ghini, Rambo, Lambamaro, all kinds of stuff.
The two lend itself to names.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, all right, well, Ben's going to come out here in a minute, and we're going to go over some engine mount stuff with him, plan
Okay.
for that, so he can take his scans and hopefully turn them into engine mounts.
Yep. We want to make both mounts pretty symmetrical. The only thing that is keeping that from being a real easy project is if you come over here and look. This side has a shaft that drives the AC compressor. Europeans love to do stuff like this instead of using a belt. But so we just couldn't make a plate and then like come off of it with just a tube that may be curved with a platform to sit on. No, we couldn't do that because this is in the way. So we're going to have to come off with like a tube up here and then maybe a tube down here that connects together because of that thing. And you can't capture it totally because then you would never get the motor mount out unless you took the shaft out, which you don't even want to think about that. Simple. 2 plates, not one solid plate. My brain sometimes kind of freezes.
Happens sometimes.
I get tunnel vision sometimes. I get like tunnel vision, and then I need to have other people give me their input, and it's like, oh yeah, that's good. No, I don't like that. No, I don't like that. But oh yeah, that's I didn't think about that. That's why. Maybe it's an old thing. I don't know.
Might happen. I already feel it, and I'm not that old. All right, it's been a couple days since we showed you guys what we had going on for the engine mount. We've been working on Eagle pretty much all the time, but Danny has been over here for the last few days working on these motor mounts. Obviously, there's a lot of challenges with this thing, and the motor mounts was the first one we needed to make work. We got the engine to fit, and now we got the motor mounts done. As you can see, we got a mount that goes on the chassis here. We got a spacer here. So basically the reason we did this, we could have put this directly above this. We did this so that eventually we might be able to use polyurethane bushing or something else if we need to dampen a vibration. I think we'll probably continue using a solid, but it's there in case we ever wanted to. He made these engine mounts. They don't look factory once they're powder coated. I mean, they look absolutely awesome. The next challenge of mounting the motor was the back. This subframe came with a mid plate for a big block Chevy, so we didn't want to move these ears. What we did instead is Ben scanned the back of the engine, and then he scanned, once it was in here, he scanned the engine to these ears. We made a little 4-inch spacer to push this out so that it would clear some of the ribs on the back of the block, and then he made this mid plate. It came out absolutely awesome. So that's good. The reason we also wanted to do this and leave this space here is we're gonna put a spacer just like you see here in solid aluminum, 6061 for now. But if we ever wanted to, we could go to a poly bushing here, a poly bushing there, and one on a transmission. That way there's some dampening control there. But I think we'll probably end up solid, but at least this way we have the option. That's one of the biggest hurdles out of the way. The engine's mounted, rack's mounted, the subframe's pretty much done. The next big thing we have to come up with is figuring out how to mount a Turbo 400 to the back of this. So that's gonna be a fun adapter to make, but I have confidence in Ben and Ryan that they will get it figured out, and we'll be on to the next problem. All right, everyone, that's pretty much gonna do it for today's update on Project Seagull. It was a lot of work to get this thing in here, but it's in there. Steering's done, which was a main concern that we weren't gonna have room, and as you can see, it barely clears. Motor mounts are pretty much figured out. Danny's got a cardboard template there. He's gonna make one out of steel and start doing the motor mounts on the chassis side. Once the chassis side is done, then we'll scan the engine again in relations to the chassis side bracket, and we'll make the engine side bracket, and then we'll make pucks to go in between it, and we'll actually have a mounted engine. So I know it wasn't a huge update from the last time. I don't know if you guys want to see all the progress and all the stuff we're going through to make this work or not. Let us know in the comments if you want us to hold back for bigger videos at a time. The next video should be really good. We got front fenders coming for Eagle. We got a bunch of sheet metal coming for Eagle. Should have wheels and tires on. This thing will be underneath the car next time you see it. We'll have all the front suspension on, TBM brakes. So the next video will be pretty good, but there are gonna be some stuff we're gonna face with, like transmission stuff that's gonna not be as big of an update per se, because there's gonna be a lot of struggles to make this stuff work. So appreciate everyone that's watching. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe, and until next time.